There's only one thing I like doing more than reading a good book, and that is reading a really bad book. This masochistic tendency has me going through the back alleys of Amazon often, finding books that nobody dares to read. And hey, I thought, who doesn't love a good train wreck? So I decided to bring you along. What we're going to do is go through a specific genre, and we're going to find what lurks in those back alleys of Amazon together. What I'm going to do is look at the first few pages of different titles from a specific genre, and then we're going to pick one to become King of the Slushpile. Maybe eventually we'll give that book a special review, but yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Now, because a lot of YouTube videos review bad movie or television where they have video clips, of course, I have to provide the dramatic reading myself with the accompaniment of some interesting AI-generated imagery by yours truly. For this week, we're going to cover the genre of fantasy. I've looked at releases for the last 30 days, picked out some books based on their title and their book covers. The cringier tends to be the better. And no, I haven't read these in advance or really vetted them. And so what you're going to see is my initial reaction. So let's begin with Santa Claus and Merlin, the Christmas Angel. I love a good crossover. Let's check out this blurb. Have you ever wondered about the origins of Santa Claus? No. Or perhaps you've been captivated by the tale of Merlin and his magical powers? Perhaps. This story takes you on a journey through time where the legends of St. Nicholas and the magic of Camelot collide, creating a heartwarming and fantastical tale. Join the Christmas Angel on her mission to bring joy back to the town of Santa Claus, Indiana, a place where the true spirit of Christmas seems to have faded. That's a bit odd considering Holiday World is there, by the way. The voyage, it's amazing. With the help of Merlin's wisdom, not Santa Claus, but Merlin, the elves' craftsmanship, and the reindeer's magical flight, the angel discovers that the greatest magic of all lies in the power of kindness, generosity, and belief. Wow! There would have been no way of knowing that about Christmas before. This book invites you to rediscover the magic of Christmas, the magic of giving, believing, and sharing joy with those around you. Get ready to embark on a magical adventure where the spirit of Christmas shines bright, and the power of belief can move mountains. A little bit odd to throw in a scriptural reference in what seems to be a very secular book, but all right, let's see what happens. Chapter 1, The Christmas Angel's Mission. Notice there is no apostrophe for the angel's mission. Great start. The Whispering Wind. High above the swirling clouds, nestled among a constellation of twinkling stars, lay the Christmas Angel's celestial home. Passive right out of the gate. Bold move, Cotton. It was a shimmering palace made of stardust and moonlight, pulsing with a gentle, ethereal glow. Here the angel resided, her wings woven from the finest gossamer, mirroring the celestial tapestry surrounding her. Each feather shimmered with a soft, iridescent light, reflecting the joy and wonder that filled her very being. It's all like, so we got happiness and sunshine and clouds and conflict. Yeah, no conflict. Her heart, a beacon of warmth and happiness, radiated a unique and powerful magic, capable of spreading cheer and light wherever she went. On a crisp December evening, the angel gazed out at the star-studded sky as a gentle breeze brushed past her. So much gentleness going on around here. Have you noticed? It feels like I'm inside a tissue box. This breeze was infused with the scent of pine and the whisper of ancient magic. Sorry, I feel like I'm in a tissue box and now we're getting cleaning supply references. What's going on here? It carried a divine mission, a plea for help, an echo of forgotten joy. As the wind conveyed this urgent message to the angel, it swept across the earth, touching every corner. Okay, wind, back off a little bit. As it moved, it produced whistling gusts that sounded like sad songs, which were actually the prayers of distressed hearts from around the globe. Hooray, we have some conflict here. Great. The entire earth, which is usually overflowing with Christmas cheer, had lost its festive spirit. The once bright smile of its inhabitants had faded, replaced by a shroud of gloom. The warmth of generosity had dwindled. Okay, I get it. People are upset. Can we move on? Leaving behind a gentle sense of isolation, the Christmas angel's heart began to ache at the thought of humanity losing its Christmas spirit. A deep calling resonated within her, like a multitude of phone calls all at once. A deep calling resonated like a bunch of phone calls? Oh boy. Yeah, she knew she had to do something to help. The The wind whispered a promise. Bring warmth and happiness back to the earth. Rekindle the forgotten joy, and let the true spirit of Christmas shine once again. Don't you love vague hooks? How is this character going to do it? How difficult is it going to be for them to do it? We don't need any specificity here. The angel's heart filled with determination as she stepped out from among the stars, each one forming around her. She swooped downward toward the planet, accepting the sacred mission as she traveled closer to the Earth's atmosphere. She knew the task ahead was not simple. She had to navigate the vast expanse of the night sky, traverse the earthly realm, and find a way to reawaken the spirit of a town that had lost its way. I mean, they're an angel. I don't think traversing night skies should be very complicated. I mean, isn't that like what you learn on the first day? However, the angel was no stranger to challenges, and her heart was fueled by an unwavering belief in the power of kindness and the magic of Christmas. Tell. Yeah, it would be nice to get some background about those challenges, because then I might know a little bit about this character, but I guess they'll remain ethereal. All right, I think we've had enough of that one. Next, we have Beyond the Bright Moon, Crossing into the Story, or Crossing into the Story, Beyond the Bright Moon, Book 1. Let's take a look at this blurb. Ko Vong wakes up in a high school classroom, bewildered and confused. Yeah, he's not the only one. He discovers he has inexplicably crossed into a novel where he plays the role of a supporting character overshadowed by the protagonist, Ha Thon Hong. As he grapples with this new reality, he learns that the original Ko Vong faced a tragic fate due to his attempts to usurp Ha's spotlight. Determined to avoid a similar ending, Ko vows to stay out of the protagonist's way and sever any ties with Ha and his Moonlight, the love interest. I am not any more clear about what the story is before I read that. Let's take a look. Chapter 1, Book Transmigration. September is considered the tail of summer. The heat is sweltering. In the classroom, not only is the air conditioning on, the ceiling fans are also creaking. Way to begin with a comma splice and some awkward phrasing. Gu Wang was awakened by the endless chatter in his ears. He buried his face in his elbow, opened his eyes wide, and stepped back a little. Just a little. What came into his sight was a scratched basketball under the table and a pile of scattered homework on the floor. Kim Dong High School, English exercises for grade 11, 3. Not sure what the parenthetical is doing, but I haven't been to high school in a long time. Ko Vong is always stupid. And we've switched to the present tense. He bit his tongue hard. Was he dreaming? You're in college. Where did you get that 11th grade homework from? Also, what the hell is Kim Dong High School? I'm so disoriented right now. He looked at the column of names of the other assignments, struggling to recognize two chicken-scratched words, Ko Vong, Gu Wang. Although the name is correct, D's handwriting. The normal handwriting that Gu Wang writes is the crocodile gold body style. Never in his memory has he written such a horribly ugly handwriting that is unbearable to look at. Now, I'm not sure if maybe there's an English as a second language situation going on here, but this is not making sense. What? And crocodile gold body style just sounds like a really bad new shoe design. He remembered that last night before going to his sleep. His roommate shared a novel with him. Because there was a male supporting character also named Ko Vong, his roommate let him read it. I kind of like the idea of somebody reading a book and that character from the book shares their name and there's some sort of crossover. I mean, Stranger Than Fiction did a whole meta comedy satire thing with a character who realizes they're part of a book. It can be done. Gu Wang was also considered a god's favorite child in the book. So this character is also considered a favorite child of a god, and we're not starting with that? Sounds kind of cool. His grandfather was a displaced household. His grandfather was a building and was given 2 billion yuan. Gu Wang thus became the third generation displaced. The previous generation of the Gu Wang family were all in business, and the 2 billion was like a snowball that kept getting bigger and bigger. Although their inner nature was still the morality of the nouveau riche, they tried their best so that by Gu Wang's generation, the Gu family status had changed and they became a powerful family. I'm a bit confused how somebody who can throw around terms like nouveau riche has such awkward phrasing and weird sentence syntax. Gu Wang is the male supporting role, a standard handsome supporting role. You know, the run-of-the-mill, gorgeous supporting character. His face completely defeats the main character. Okay, wait a minute. You need to calm down, Gu Wang. You're getting a little bit feisty here. His family background is excellent, and he also values the person the male lead likes. But unfortunately, he is just a flower vase. Wait, so you have the grandfather is a building, the supporting character is a flower vase. Not only does he offend the male lead, but the person Gu Wang likes also extremely hates him. The ending of Ko Vong in the story is that he drugged the male lead with bright moonlight. Why is the male lead attacked the Ko family. The Ko family collapsed. The moment the Ko family collapsed, the original body also got into a traffic accident and died on the operating table. The original body of what? The body of work that I'm trying to dissect right now? Ko Vong was thinking back to what he said at the time. It seemed like he said, if it were me, the male lead of this book would have to be changed. All right, this is way too complicated and above my head. I'm just gonna have to give it a pass. The next book is The Fated Wolf Prince. Let's take a look at this one. In the heart of Lunara Valley, a prophecy was fulfilled, but the real danger has only just begun. Arya Sageheart, a once overlooked PSI wolf, pounds per square. Oh, Psy Wolf, thought her destiny ended with the unification of the shifter packs. But when a dark force rises from the shadows, threatening to unravel the fragile peace she fought to create, Arya finds herself thrust into a new battle, one where her power is both the greatest weapon and the deadliest curse. Alright, so we got some good conflict going on at very least. Could be interesting. As alliances crumble and an ancient enemy emerges, Arya must navigate a world steeped in betrayal, danger, and forbidden truths. With Lucian Bloodthorn, the shifter prince, by her side, their bond is tested in ways neither imagined. Oh, I can imagine a lot. The storm brewing on the horizon promises destruction, and Arya may be the only one who can stop it. But the cost of saving her world may be more than she's willing to pay. $1 million. Can she rise to the challenge, or will the shadows consume everything she holds dear? Dive into Fated Shadows, a gripping Wait. Was it the name of the book, The Fated Wolf Prince? Dive into Fated Shadows, a gripping tale of love, power, and the darkness that lurks beyond the lights. Unlike the darkness that lurks within the lights, the worst kind. Perfect for readers who crave heart-pounding suspense, unforgettable characters, and a romance that burns brighter than the moon. This is just the beginning. Beginning with a threat now, are we? Arya have been promised pulse-pounding suspense and unforgettable characters, so let's see how this barn burner begins, shall we? Chapter 1. The Mandate. The morning sun cast golden streaks through the dense canopy of Lunara Valley, painting the forest floor with warmth. This sounds pulse-pounding and intense. Arya Sageheart knelt by her small herb garden, the earthy scent of rosemary and sage calming her nerves. Her hands worked deftly, harvesting leaves and tying them into neat bundles. This has got all the excitement of a Martha Stewart special. This routine was her sanctuary, a quiet rhythm she relied on to steady the restlessness within her. Alright, a little internal conflict. This isn't so bad. Let's get going. A rustling from the tree line broke her concentration. Turning, she spotted Kai Hollowpelt emerging from the shadows, his wiry frame practically bouncing with energy. "Morning, Arya," he called. His grin as bright as the sunlight filtering through the trees. Is it just me, or are you picturing like a dentist commercial? "What's got you so chipper?" Arya asked, raising an eyebrow as she wiped her hands on her apron. "Isla made breakfast, and let's just say her cooking's interesting," Kai replied with a dramatic shudder. He plopped down on a nearby rock, plucking a stray rosemary sprig from her pile and twirling it between his fingers. I will say in general, this is pretty alright. This isn't like that exciting, but it's serviceable. "She tries," Arya said with a faint smile, standing to stretch. "It's more than I can say for you." "Hey, I'm a master at foraging berries," he shot back, feigning indignation. I think we got that from the dialogue. Their easy banter filled the clearing, a familiar comfort. There's a lot of comfort going on, right? You know, it's like comfort of the nerds and comfort of this. Like, can we move on? Moments later, Isla Moonvale appeared, her golden brown skin glowing in the sunlight. She carried a small basket of warm bread and honey, her hazel eyes alight with amusement. It's just so pleasant, isn't it? "Are you two gossiping about me again?" she teased, setting the basket down. By gossiping, you mean one character said your cooking is interesting and the other person says you make a good attempt. That's hardly that scandalous. Always, Kai said with a wink, grabbing a piece of bread. As Arya laughed softly, her wolf stirred uneasily, a faint but growing sensation she couldn't place. Seems like she's doing a pretty good job of figuring it out. She shook it off, returning to the moment, but something felt different in the valley that morning, as if the very air carried a warning. The sound of heavy paws against the ground snapped Arya's attention toward the tree line. A large, silver-coated wolf emerged, its piercing yellow eyes fixed on her. As it shifted, the imposing figure of a courier from the High Alpha Council stood before them, scroll in hand. Kai was the first to speak, his usual playfulness replaced by wariness. This can't be good. The courier stepped forward, his expression stern. Arya Sageheart, this is for you. Arya hesitated, her fingers trembling as she accepted the scroll. The parchment felt heavy in her hands, as though the weight of its contents could already crush her. This is going to be really funny when it turns out to be a publishing clearinghouse letter. The seal of the High Alpha Council glinted in the sunlight, a crescent moon intertwined with the wolf's claw. Opened it, Isla urged gently, her voice laced with concern. Unrolling the scroll, Arya's eyes skimmed the ornate text. Her breath hitched as she read, By decree of the High Alpha Council, all unmated wolves are hereby summoned to the Great Pack Gathering. Attendance is mandatory. Failure to comply will result in exile. All right. That's kind of a good hook. I'm with it. The words echoed in her mind, their finality leaving no room for doubt. As opposed to most words with finality which have a lot of doubt left. What does it say? Kai asked, his tone uncharacteristically serious. Yeah, we get it. He's not usually serious. You've done this like 3 times. Arya read the message aloud, her voice trembling. The silence that followed was deafening. You have to go, Isla whispered, her hand resting on Arya's shoulder. Arya nodded, the dread pooling in her stomach. I don't have a choice. All in all, the setup is kind of campy and tropey, but it's not that bad. It's certainly not as bananas as the other 2 we've seen so far. Let's move on to the next one. Wrath of the Time Wizard. Episode 1. Torture of Repeating Time. Really basic book cover there, but you know what they say about judging a book by its cover. Yeah, usually you can tell a lot. Let's take a look at this blurb. The dots. What are they? How can they be stopped before they grow out of control? Okay, that's a fascinating start. I have a feeling this person doesn't understand how the game of Pac-Man is played. Or perhaps this is a begrudged Baskin-Robbins worker really upset about the ice cream of the future. I have to say though, you got my interest. Let's go. I need to get out of here. I can't. It can't end like this. Oh, but it will. I wouldn't be so sure, you magic-wielding prick. Once I find a way to avoid your infinite gibberish technique, then you'll be as good as dead. Your arrogance and underestimating of my abilities is humoring. How do you think your friends, and hell, even the entirety of Aramine, will react to your disappearance? The city won't last long without you to guide them. Shut up. They'll find me. I know they will. Once again, you humor me with your overconfidence. Do you actually believe that they'll find us here? Even if they did manage to find me in the province's largest and second most dangerous cage system, they'd still have to get through me, remember? What was I here for again? Oh yes, you will tell me where I can find the care guard. Super lost, but I do love a really smarmy and obnoxious villain. Yeah, sorry, bud, but it's going to take a lot more than an infinite sequence of randomized characters pouring into my conscious to get me to reveal anything about that. That's an oddly specific form of punishment that I can totally get behind. In fact, sort of feels like I've been reading a randomized series of characters at times. You're underestimating just how long I can drag out that sequence for, and you're also overestimating your tolerance to something like that. Yeah, whatever you say, man. How about instead of talking, you give me your worst in the short-lived time you have left? Very well. And yeah, that's it. It's just random gibberish for pages. Is this some sort of performance art or something? I mean, I can't tell if this is somehow brilliant or I don't know. let's move on. Masked Murderers, The Black Panther, Book 1. Well, this doesn't look like a violation of IP or anything, does it? Leon had to learn early to throw a bag of mealies over his shoulder and walk away with it. He was barely 14 years old when he so skillfully handled a bow and arrow that any bushman's mouth would have watered, because he was the only son and child of his parents. This is really not a blurb. This is like an opening chapter. So rather than read all of this in, let's just dive into this, because I'm assuming it's going to be pretty much the same text. Let's take a look. Chapter 1, The Leopard Storms. All right, surprisingly enough, it's not the same as the blurb, but you know what? I don't want to go back to a blurb that sounds like a chapter. Let's just read the chapter. The young man climbs over the boulder. The muscles in his upper arm bulge. He is sunburned, and his worn-out hat is pulled almost over his eyes, with his ears sticking out from under the field hat. He lets out a single groan that can be heard above the roar of the waterfall just 10 paces behind him. Honestly, not a bad start. We've got a setting, we've got some conflict. All right, let's keep going. Now, he stands atop the steep rock wall. He brings his dirty hands to his forehead and gazes intently at the waterfall, where it crashes against the rocks, slick with frog slime. Got a bunch of jewelly frogs around there or something? Somewhere where? The bush dove fell. He had seen it tumble down, its feathers fluttering in the air. My word, this slingshot is a marvel. Marvel, you see what he did there? The boy thinks, examining the weapon carefully. 2 sturdy, well-built legs stick out from beneath his rolled-up khaki shorts. His muscles are well-defined. Yeah, we get that. You've told us a lot about this muscles and this strong kid, and it's starting to creep me out a little bit. Observing his posture on the high boulder, you'd never guess that he had just turned 18. Barely legal? Is that the vibe we're going for? His blue eyes continued to search among the green rocks below the water. Come hell or high water, he must get that dove, so he can notch another mark on his stick. Yes, my stick will be notched. He bends down and quickly rolls down his khaki shorts. They now hang almost to his knees. He'll need to act quickly. For a moment, his gaze nervously shifts to the western horizon. The sun is setting fast, and his father will soon start calling for him. But the notch! He's got to get the notch! Leon begins to clamber from rock to rock towards the waterfall. At times, he must make dangerous leaps from one rock to another, but he progresses faster and faster. Fine droplets of water splash against him, misting over his face like a damp fog. If fine droplets of water are splashing on your face like a mist, isn't that the definition of a damp fog? A short distance away, on a flat stone close to the falling water, he sees the blue, bloodied bush dove. His heart rejoices. That was a perfect shot, despite the wind catching the rock. He pauses, as if to enjoy the refreshment of fine droplets spraying against him. As if, he really doesn't like it at all. It had been a hot day, as only the bushveld here in the northern Transvaal can be. His blue eyes marvel at the falling, roaring mass of water. It falls easily 12 feet high in a broad stream. Unconsciously, Leon wishes his father would linger here for a long time, that they could stay here forever. If this is unconscious, then how do we know about this? Are we like a third party? Are we like voyeuristically watching this 18-year-old boy catch a dove by a waterfall? They could even build a house nearby. Leon prepares himself for the final jump. On the other side, he'll need to plant his feet firmly, for the greenish slime on part of the rock could send him tumbling into the swirling depths of the water below. He bends his back and takes a step backwards. I really wonder what's up with all of these frogs and greenish slime and gross. Is it a problem that I'm much more worried about the health outcomes of the frogs in this region that seem to be spewing out this constant green slime to the point where rocks have become precariously slippery? Like a cowhide, he flies through the air and lands on all fours on the rock slab where the bush dove lies. Like a cowhide, he flies through the air? Do people? Okay, this might be something I just don't understand, but I'm not familiar with tossing cowhide. Barely as he touched down when he jerks upright. He could swear he heard a soft growl, like that of some predator. but the water nearby is deafening. Slowly, he stands up with the dead bush dove in his hand. He looks at it. It's a chest shark. A musty smell suddenly pricks his nostrils. Before him stand sharp-pointed green rocks. No! The rocks! The rocks have become sentient from all the frog green slime. Between them, the clear water rushes. Adventure and curiosity compel him to try and navigate those dangerous rocks. He'll have to slide closer on his backside. He sits down and scoots past the waterfall, just a short distance, and then he draws a sharp breath in surprise. There's some compelling action going on here, but I'm not really getting that much of a sense of character, and it is a bit overwritten, don't you think? And what's up with that green slime, please? I really want to know about this frog green slime. All right, let's check out our final book, The Chosen One. Part 1. Well, that cover is very promising. Let's take a look at the blurb. The Chosen One must defend the people from the reckoning at all costs. Does she have what it takes? Simple, but at least I have some clarity of what's going on. Although the reckoning, it better be better than the happening. Prologue. I know I normally do callouts, but you really need to see what the first page of this book looks like. Yeah, this person doesn't know what a paragraph break is. It's been 3 years since the last major fight between us and the demons, but I remember it like yesterday. Nice cliche to open it up with. Frankly, it wasn't that much of a big deal at the beginning. Taking on just 100 lower-ranked demons wasn't much of a big deal, but it was really tiresome. Yeah. Low-ranked demons, like, they're just a pain in the behind. The real challenge would be to face an archdemon. They were thought to be just myths until we faced one. The archdemons were the most powerful beings in all of hell. They had a ridiculous amount of power. Just crazy amounts of power. Not like those other ones. We knew that vanquishing this beast would bring us a step closer to keeping the peace between realms for at least another 10 years or so. Yeah, give or take a few years. I mean, you know, what's exact timing when it comes to facing off evil demonic lords? What we didn't know was that the archdemon would beat us hands down. Yeah, that was probably the most humiliating fight that we had ever been in. Sounds like this was like really casual. I mean, this is like the opening of the Emperor's New Groove or something. I'm not quite sure what the vibe is this author's going for. Do you really think you are a match for me? Said the archdemon with so much pride as he looked down with all of us on the floor, beaten half to death. I mean, that doesn't sound like pride. That sounds like an observation. It seems like he does have the upper hand. It's not over, said Nick in a faint voice as he stood up to face the vile creature. Nick, don't do it. You can't face him alone, I said as I stretched my hand toward him in a gesture to persuade him to stop what he was about to do. Insert your own idea of what that gesture might have been. I've got some ideas. I'm sorry, boss, but this is my job, right? It's our sacred duty to keep the balance between the realms till the appropriate time that he would come, and he won't let you. I won't let you destroy all that we have achieved over the years, and I definitely won't give the human race to a hole like you. Nick was always the stubborn one. Yeah, that Nick. He's always putting his face and doing heroic things we don't want him to do. But he did know how to use his words. I mean, he's saying he's really good at smack talk? What a superpower. That little pep talk of his got us all on our feet. We fought through the pain and agony of the wounds the bastard demon had already inflicted on us. You celestial warriors are all bark and no bite. We will rule this world, and I will pave the way for all of hell to descend upon this wretched world. You know, this dialogue without paragraph breaks and no attributions a little bit confusing. We started fighting him all over again, but this time it was different. We found strength in Nick's work. What is up with Nick's work? Okay, Nick just did a little bit of smack talk, acting like he's William Wallace in Braveheart or something. And we used that strength to bring the demon to its knees. Well, I wish I could have seen that happen. Like, how? How do they even fight it? What do they do? Action. Who's the all bark and no bite now? Nick said as he drew closer to the demon to deliver the final blow. Don't get cocky, yelled the demon as he drove a dagger into Nick's chest. Nick looked at the dagger that was just drove into his I get it, yeah. Before taking a good look at the demon who would put an end to his life. But he wasn't going to die for nothing. No. He was going to do a lot of smack talk on his way out. With his last ounce of strength, he used his sword to behead the demon, and the demon's body fell to the ground with a loud thud. He went for the head! Always go for that. Nick did it. He was the first celestial warrior to ever kill an archdemon. But it came at a heavy cost. Nick lay on the floor in my arms as he gasped for breath to deliver his final words. Oh, this is gonna be good. Nick is good with words. Hey, Ronan, he said to me with his dying breath. Looks like my journey ends here. I'm counting on you guys to finish the job. Brilliant speech. Amazing. He's got away with words, that Nick. Wow. Moved. I was speechless as tears flowed down my cheeks. He was my best friend, and now I held his corpse in my arms. The other warriors were all standing behind me. They were silent. Dre put his hand on my shoulder and said, "We have to go. We need to report to Michael." Yeah, Michael. Yeah, and he's gonna want his paperwork all in order. You know how Michael is about all that. I wiped my tears from my face as I got up from the floor. Nick's body faded into stardust as we teleported away. This was the beginning of something big. Like a few hundred pages probably in this book. That archdemon had said "we," which means there were more like him. Do they not know about the celestial realm and how this all works? And if he wasn't bluffing, I don't want to imagine what we'd be in for. But there was one thing I was sure of. This was going to be the biggest threat to the human race. After the deck of Nick, Michael announced we would be disbanding by his orders. We were to go to different continents of the world, excluding Antarctica, because we all know that there are no demons in Antarctica, to keep track of demonic activities in each continent. All right, so this isn't exactly a terrible opening in terms of what it's trying to do. It's kind of interesting, but we didn't really see anything, right? It was all told at this very high level, and so we didn't really get to experience anything. And I mean, the whole Nick being good with words was pretty hysterically funny, and the main character whose viewpoint we were in, we basically learned nothing about. You know, I have to say, if I have to put all these together, the one that seems the best written and the best foot forward is probably a Faded Wolf Prince. And yeah, I know you're like, wow, you're picking a wolf shifter romance, but I mean, at least it had some characters, a setup. It was moving. It had a pretty nice flow. So congratulations, you have become the king of the Slushpile for this week. Now, if you enjoyed this video, check out my links below because you can find out more about my other videos and my Patreon where, hey, if you'd like to get some personal advice like you're seeing right here on the screen, I'm more than happy to provide it. I've been a writing coach for several years now, and as you can tell, I have a lot of fun. And I'll see you here next time on Page Trauma.